GoPro stopped recording. Hello. Oh. G'day folks, my name's Simon. I'd like to welcome you back to my channel. This channel is all about motorcycles, adventure, camping and touring. So now comes the bit that I probably dislike the most about camping. And that's striking camp, packing up. Because it really isn't the most fun thing in the world. Now, I suppose it's like making your bed in the morning when you wake up. I never like doing that either. So I had a lovely night's sleep. Tossed and turned a little bit though and woke up a little bit, but it wasn't bad. Got to wake up to the sounds of the birds tweeting, that sort of thing, which was really, really good. That's got to be the best thing about camping. Waking up to the sounds of nature. Gotta love the sounds of nature. So this is my Nemo Pillow, which is a really comfy little pillow. Had to play around with it a little bit last night because in the hammock you don't want to have a pillow that's really big because your head's obviously higher up than your torso anyway. So I had to play around just a little bit with it to get it right. And eventually I got it just right, just comfortable, and it worked perfectly. One of the things I love about this pillow though is that its stuff sack is actually part of the pillow. Then all you have to do is fit it back in. I did get some visitors here last night. Some people drove up in their four-wheel drive and parked just up the way there, or stopped just up the way there, about 50 metres or 60 metres away, with their LED light bar on the roof of their four-wheel drive pointing straight at me. I was in bed though and I completely ignored them. I knew they were there, but I didn't want to interact with anybody, so I just stayed out of sight. So it was pretty much warm enough last night, although I will say that even though this sleeping bag is rated to -10 Celsius or 15 degrees Fahrenheit, and this underquilt is rated to -5 degrees Celsius, it still doesn't make you all toasty warm. It was down to 6 degrees overnight. I wasn't shivering by any means, but certainly wasn't, like toasty warm or anything. It was okay though, it was comfortable. The best thing about a down sleeping bag though is just how much you can compress it when you want to travel on a bike. I mean, I'd always had, what do they call them? The non-down sleeping bags. I don't know, can't even remember what they call them. I'd always had that sort of sleeping bag all my life. And now that I've had a down sleeping bag, I don't think I want to go back to the other type. Simply because these are so much more comfortable for sleeping in, and they compress a heck of a lot more. I mean, it's not bad. And the underquilt here that I've got from Alton Goods is also a down underquilt, which again means that it's very easy to pack up. Packs down really small, and it's pretty lightweight. And the Alton Goods ultralight straps come with all these little sewn-in sections into them. So you can simply put it round the tree, hook it through itself, and then hook the carabiner on your hammock straight into one of the pockets on the straps as well, which is actually so much easier than everything I've used before. They've got a weight limit of 300 kilos, but it's just me. So 300 kilos is plenty. I like the fact that this bug net just uses clips to attach to the ridgeline, which is really good. One of the things though that I think would have been good would have been if the little stuff sacks were actually attached to the items themselves, like the hammock stuff sack could have very easily been part of the hammock, same like my cheap Chinese hammock has got. And the bug net could easily have its own stuff sack as part of that. So there's just a thought for that for the guys at Alton Goods. Might be something they might be able to do. I do also find that I can put my straps in with the bug net, which means that it's even more condensed, which is great. There you go, when your entire sleep system can condense down into this tiny little pile of stuff, which is still slightly larger to pack than using a tent, but using a tent you've also got to have an inflatable mattress, still got to have a sleeping bag, still got to have, you know, ground sheets, pegs, pillows, that sort of thing. So I've got all the sleeping gear packed up. Still got my seat out over there. And now I've got to try and make it all fit back in the bike. Packing the bike up is always like playing Tetris. Except once all the bricks are in, they don't disappear. So basically, one whole pannier is filled with all of my camping gear. There's still plenty of room in it though. So I can chuck some food into it. And the other side is going to have, well, it's basically got my cooking gear and fire lighting equipment and that sort of thing in it. So I just had a couple of dogs that some people had come down to exercise at the at the river here came running up and barking at me, a couple of blue cattle dogs. They freaked out, called their dogs back and jumped in their van and took off. Anyway, all good, because the dogs didn't get that close. You know, 5 metres is still enough that I can do something if I need to. So, the camping panniers all packed up. So these Moto panniers, you can buy the strap to secure them with. It's a metal wire, I guess, and it locks into itself, which is really quite good because without removing it or cutting your way through the side of the pannier, people can't get into it at all. I mean, admittedly, obviously, anybody can get into anything if they're determined enough. But that said, if the bike's parked up and I'm not with it, the alarm's set, and the alarm will certainly, you know, go off if somebody's trying to get into this pannier. So on the back pockets of my panniers, I've got some water in my little bottle here. This bottle's got a charcoal filter in it. It's just a Brita bottle. On the other side over here, in the back pocket here, I have my MSR 4-litre dromedary pack, which I filtered some water into yesterday before I left to come out. It's town water, which is why I filtered it, because I don't like the taste of chlorine. I only put 3 litres in it because I didn't figure I'd need any more than that, but it fits perfectly into this pocket over here. And then I can squish it down, secure it in, and it's all good. And I can actually access the water from down the bottom here through this little pouch, little flap on the side, to be able to wash my hands or fill my water bottle, etc., without having to hold lots of things. So really, really useful. And then in this pannier, I've actually got a pair of shoes that I didn't even use because I didn't bother taking my boots off until I went to bed. They're a little bit squashed because, well, they've been stuffed into a pannier for ages. Keep some propane, butane gas in here. I've got my billy can and mini, I suppose, stove thing. You know, the stick burning stove that I've used in other videos. I'll put a link to those. And here's my water filtration kit. This is a platypus kit, and it's not cheap, but it seems to do a really, really good job. So, it comes with 2 bags, and they're labelled dirty reservoir, 4 litres, and clean reservoir, 4 litres. And they've got straps on them so you can hang them up. And what you do is you fill the dirty one with creek water or whatever you want, and then you push the valve in till it clicks, and there's your filter. And you put the other end of this onto it, and then you put it onto the bottom of this bag here. And then the water from that runs through the filter, runs down into this bag, and you've got clean, drinkable water. And my camp chair fits nicely into here. I can also stuff in my liners from my jacket, which I'll take care of now. And then I've got camera gear and so on in the top box. You know, so still camera, extra stuff for the GoPros and that sort of thing. And in there at the moment, which needs to be moved, is my fire lighting gear and my other camp gear. And in the side here, I've actually got my hatchet for chopping up firewood if I need to. I've also got clothes. So in there's enough clothes to go for a couple of days. And I didn't even flatten them out before I sucked all the air out, but literally a vacuum bag filled with clothes, seal it up, fold it over, and then sit on it until there's no air left. And that's the way I travelled on the Rise of the Phoenix tour. I had 4 t-shirts, 4 sets of socks, 4 pairs of boxer shorts, some jeans, and a few other things just packed into vacuum bags like this. And that made travelling really, really easy because everything was very, very condensed. I also had my scrubber wash bag, and there's a video that shows that where I'm down in Thredbo, and I used it in my hotel room there. So I'll put a link to that up above as well. But very little else is really needed. So yeah, it's actually really easy to travel with stuff when you condense it down and pack it into the smallest form that you can with things like vacuum bags and that sort of thing. And because I adhere to the policy of leave no trace, no rubbish, everything's packed up to take away with me that I brought in. It's time to go. Oh, it's warming up. Time to head home, switch on the air conditioner, and then think about going for a swim after doing some video editing. It was a nice night out though. I needed it. Well, fellow walkabouters, it's the end of another trip. Just popping out for some overnight camping, but you know, it's still a bit of an adventure for me because it's not something I get to do nearly as often as I'd like to. So look, do me a favour, if you got something out of today's video, you enjoyed it, whatever, give it a big thumbs up for me. If you haven't already, consider subscribing down below. Oh, dead snake on the road. Consider subscribing down below and come along and join me for the ride. I put out new videos every week on a Wednesday morning at 9 AM Sydney time.